Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to my Hello themed live stream, the British IPA. Oh, I missed it there, honestly. So, Javiers, welcome once again. It's really my pleasure to conduct this live stream. You might be aware we are celebrating 3 years anniversary of the Hello app since we started our operation in March 2019 from the Facebook Hello group. So, as a part of our anniversary celebration, it's today is my turn to talk about a little bit British IPA. So, if you know anything about the British IPA, you are more than welcome to participate. If there is any of my subscribers here, they can come and join. Any Hello teachers can join freely, but non-subscribers can hop on with $2. That is the rule here and the policy and guidelines. Okay, hello Thong Bookworm, hello Umaima, hello Priyanka, hello Shi, hello Raja, hello Ruby. Thank you very much for joining once again. And today we're going to talk and have a little bit insight how the IPA works, why IPA, and how it started. Hello Gregorio, welcome. So, dear viewers, once again, welcome to our British IPA concept. Hey, Teacher Ahmed, welcome. Please join. I need to listen to all the history from you, Teacher Ahmed. Please send me request, Teacher Ahmed. Thank you very much. So, dear viewers, have got our special guest, one of the newest Hello teacher, Teacher Jamal Ahmed, one and only. Assalamu alaikum, Teacher Jamal Ahmed.
Hello, can you hear me, Teacher Rahan?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't see you.
You cannot see me? Because I'm using my laptop, so I'm not certain how well it will work. So, yeah, sorry for that.
Yeah, that's okay. Algalia, if you can join if you want to. We are just having discussion about the IPA. Most possibly, you can ask question to Teacher Ahmed. So let me bring out of my subscriber, Teacher Ahmed. Yeah, she wants to join. Yes, I'm Algalia. Please do join. That's okay. Our teacher's talk has been finished this morning. Okay, Raja, welcome. Priyanka. Oh, you can't hear? Really? Teacher Ahmed, are you okay? I can't hear you now.
I'm not talking, Teacher Rahul.
Oops, sorry. Okay. Algaila, it may be your connection. If you don't mind, Algaila, log out from this live stream and rejoin. That will be better place, yeah? Hello, Navin, welcome. Priyanka, welcome. Priyanka has already question for you, Teacher Ahmed.
Sorry, could you please go on? Priyanka. Okay. Hello, respected sir. I have a question. Please suggest me some points. How can I improve my English language speaking skill? So that's a very specific question. I like that because when a student knows what they need, is a sign that they know what they actually want to hear from the teachers. So speaking skills, I would like you to first of all join as many teachers as you can, especially Teacher Rahat. He does a lot of live streams. So if you subscribe to any of his classes, you can join him whenever he goes live, right? So, like, especially in streams like these, where he loves to speak his mind and teaches so many new things. So, you can hop on with teachers. Remember, teachers here, they make you feel comfortable, and it's really easy. Even if you're not fluent, and even if you're really hesitant, you can just start building your confidence over time. And if you don't feel comfortable speaking in public, have a class, have a one-on-one class with teachers or with students. With students is free, but with teachers, of course, is paid. But the comfort that you feel with teachers is unparalleled. So I would really suggest the teachers. So, but still, if you don't feel comfortable with teachers, that's fine. Go join students. Yeah. Thank you, Teacher RahatAli, for the response. For the, what's the word? Opportunity.
Teacher Ahmed, I've just decided any question would be coming there. You're going to answer today.
Okay.
I'm being cheeky. And we both can answer. No worries. By the way, have you broken your fasting already?
Yes, yes, I have.
Algalia, the best option would be I can see on the hop on section. If you please log out from this live stream and re-log in. Sorry, Dr. Rosie, if you're free, please hop on. Okay, so it's like an open discussion. You can share your thoughts, and because I've requested especially.
Hello, teacher Rahat sir and teacher Ahmed.
Hello, Dr. Rosie, welcome. So
Just I finished my iftar.
that's great. So you have
You're
broken it.
still fasting, Rosie? No, she's
Yes,
broken it.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay. It's good to see you here, Rizwan.
Alright.
Thank you.
Okay, so Dr. Rosie, welcome. It is the 3 years Hallows, anniversary. It's a themed live stream, as you can see. Hallo theme live stream,
Mhm.
the British IPA.
Yes, sir.
And teacher Jamal Ahmed is our special guest because he's very good at presenting this IPA. So we like to listen to him first. Actually, I was waiting to go a little bit more high views. It's already 39. Teacher Ahmed, how many times? I mean, how much times do you have for us?
Um, Sorry. Like, how long or how often?
How long you can
How
stay
long?
with us?
Today? How long can I stay with you today?
Yeah, in this live broadcast.
It's a long time. Like, it's a long time as long as you want me to be here.
That's
Oh,
great.
great.
Yeah.
Really great.
All right. Joy, alaikum salam. Mariam, let me quickly acknowledge them. And Algalia, who else? Nabeen, Priyanka, Raja, and all the people. Okay. Thank you very much for joining once again. Kate, hello. Okay. So if anyone knows anything about the IPA, they can share. And Teacher Ahmed is going to start a little bit explanation for all of us. So I asked this question to him: what is IPA, when it started, and how important it for us? Then we're going to give practical demonstration like British English versus American English. And Teacher Ahmed is an amazing teacher, and he can give some practical examples. All right, let's move on, Teacher Ahmed. We have got 40 viewers already.
Okay, so the IPA. Walaikum assalam, Anisa. So the International Phonetic Alphabet is an alphabet, just like English, right? We have A, B, C, D. That's an alphabet. But the International Phonetic Alphabet is an alphabet designed to help with pronunciation. The word has a phonetic, it means sound, right? So it helps us with pronunciation. And one of the good things about the IPA is that each letter represents only one sound. It's not crazy like English, where one sound, think of a C, it can be so many things. One letter has only one sound, and that's incredible thing about the IPA. And this is why they created the IPA back in 1880, where in Paris they decided, okay, there are so many languages in the world. Let's create a system where we can represent the sounds of the languages. So this is when we have the IPA, and IPA is regularly updated to make changes according to different languages. So, but today our focus is the IPA for English only. Remember, every language has its own sound system. So you can learn the IPA for that language and you can improve the pronunciation within the language. So if I want to learn Chinese, I don't go to a teacher, ask them, a native speaker, ask them, hey, how do you say this word? I go learn the IPA for the language first. And then whenever I see a word, I find it in a dictionary and I try my best to imitate that, right? So I know this is how the IPA sounds and this is how I should sound. So that really helps me with the pronunciation. And I have gotten so many compliments from Chinese speakers, from Spanish speakers. Hey, your Chinese or your Spanish is so good. It's because I take advantage of what I already know in English. So you can apply the knowledge of IPA from English to other languages as well. So it's really helpful, especially in English, because English is a mess. The same letter can sound in so many different ways. So for me, see, I know that the V's and the W's are different since I know the IPA. So whenever I see a W, I can produce a W. It's really hard for me, but I know way and ve they should sound different. But since my mother tongue does not distinguish them, I know in IPA that my mother tongue does not have the V and W distinction. For me, it's really hard. So a word like wet and vet causes me confusion. But when I go to the dictionary, it shows me the IPA. Yes, it's a W. I have to say a W, wet. When it's a V, I have to say a V, vet, right? So that really helps me with pronunciation as well.
Teacher
And
Jamal, you have already
yes,
explained. I was going to ask you this word later because many a times, many of Asian students have this problem. They said they can't distinguish or differentiate W and V. Like I say, washed up
so
time, they say bust up time. You see,
yeah.
and even one of the Indian movies, very famous movies, I think its name is Three Idiots, and there is a song. It's the
All is there.
yeah, and also there is a word. It is washed up time. It's written in subtitle, but they're pronouncing washed up time. So
Yeah.
this is one of the problem. But we're going to come back later, Teacher Ahmed. So I have just shared the chart of IPA.
So, teacher Rahat, teacher Rahat, can you give me permission for asking something with teacher Ahmed? I have
Yes,
little bit
welcome.
confusion.
We are having open discussion. No worries, just ask him.
Okay,
And before that,
so
one more thing. Sorry, Teacher Ahmed, Rosie,
yeah,
Dr. Rosie, and all the people. For information, this live broadcast has been shared to our Hello Facebook group, Teacher Ahmed and Dr. Rosie, as well as my
okay,
main page of Facebook and YouTube channel. So there are some people watching from there. Welcome everyone, people who have joined from there.
okay, great, sir. Thank you. So, teacher Ahmed, my question is like that. When I completed my IPA, so it's only help for me with help of like dictionary or some texted in IPA also. If in general text, I am not able to identify uh, how to pronounce that a letter in three sound a. What is appropriate for this letter? It's only depend upon when I know IPA and I go to dictionary and then um, I learn according to that dictionary. Then I know. It is correct or just I am. It's like practicing, no? It's like
Yeah.
how much I know, then I am able to correct pronounce.
Great. And I'd like to welcome Nada, Satram, Afwe, Mamandeep, Rocky, thanks for the donation, Motashim, Shashwa, Nabeen, Hayam, and all the people who have joined. Thank you very much once again for joining. This is our 3 years anniversary themed live stream, the British IPA, and we've got our expert in IPA, Teacher Ahmed. Okay, yeah, you've got Azan there. Okay, so in the meantime, guys,
Yeah, Zan.
let me share some of the information of the Hello app. We started Hello's first operation in March 2019 through the Facebook group Hello Global. And still we have got the group and there are around 400,000 members at the moment. And we work in the admin panel like Teacher Ahmed, me, and there are a number of people, and we try to bring different kinds of information about the Hello app, our marketing, different kinds of posting, vocabulary, grammar, IELTS, this, that, fun post, selfie on the Fridays, and many other things. If you have not become a member, Dr. Rose and anyone, please become a member there. You'll be seeing lots of funny things as well. Okay, we also go live broadcast, different teachers, different time of the week. I go mostly on Sundays. Maybe today I'll go after finishing this live stream for a short while. And we try to always bring those audience and we always advise them to come and join on Hello. And it has really positive impact, as when they see that, oh, a Hello teacher is also in Hello Facebook group, and they come and they just download, they, subscribe to many teachers. Okay. So bear me a moment, guys, because there is Azan. Teacher Ahmed has just muted for a few moments. And
Yes, I am back.
oh, he's back. Yahoo.
Yeah.
Uh, Mutasim says, "Sir, please give a central idea of the IPA." Okay, Mutasim, since this your question and Rosie's question are basically the same questions, so I'll answer both of your questions at the same time. So, Rosie asked, "Does IPA really help? Because in order to use IPA, you need to have a dictionary with you, right? So does it really help?" So my answer is yes and no. Remember, English is a crazy language. The problem lies with English, not with the IPA. So the purpose of IPA is not to make you able to read words. Is for you to be able to produce the sounds of English. Okay, so for some people, sated and shaded, they sound the same. How do they know that those are different sounds? If they look it up in IPA, they'll see different symbols. Remember, even if you hear someone say shaded or shaded, you won't be able to hear the difference if your language does not have the difference. That's really important. As I told teacher RahatAli earlier, that my language does not have the difference between a W and a V. So no matter how many times someone tells me, hey, it's a W, not a V, I won't be able to hear it, right? They say wet,
Mhm.
not vet. I won't be able to hear the difference at all. So the only way I know this is a W or a V is by the way of IPA. Of course, this is an example where this is really easy because almost all the words that have a V in spelling, they also have a V in sound. And the words that have a W in spelling, they also have a W in sound. That's an easy example for some, this is, think of the TH sound in English, right? Thing and that. Both
Yeah.
of them are
Thank
written the same way, the same TH, but in thing, this is a different sound. But in that, that's a different sound. How do you know which one to produce? Go to the dictionary. Even if you listen to it, it does not mean that you know that there's a different sound, because your ears, they trick you, right? Your ears, they play tricks on
Yes.
you. They
Yeah.
love doing that because
Yes.
the sound that you're not used to,
Ah,
they don't get registers. Okay, the sound they're not used to, they
yeah.
don't get registers. I'll give you an example. So in Chinese, for example, they have the difference between sha and sha, and most people cannot hear the difference. Sha, sha. See, the sounds the same. Unless I know the IP and I know where to put my tongue and produce the accurate sound, I won't be
Correct.
able to
Correct.
hear the difference or actually produce the difference at all. So they sound the same to most people,
Yeah.
but not to me, because I have been practicing that for a long time now, and that really helps me
Yeah.
with the sound. So this is what the basic purpose of the IPA is, to be able to familiarize ourselves with the sounds of the language and then apply those sounds to words, and then word
Yeah.
boundaries and their entire sentences, right? Phrases,
Yeah.
sentences. Yeah.
Thank you,
So
teacher
it
Ahmed.
means,
Hang on a
yeah.
second.
So it means teacher Rahman. Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Shashwat, I have accepted you. Are you on the hop on section? Can you see him? Shashwat, are you still there? I don't know. He might have some connection issue.
Oh no, sir, no.
Maybe he's gone. Uh,
Okay.
all right, sorry, go on.
So yeah, so teacher Ahmed, it means the IPA give me that strength where are familiar to that sound as listening or as speaking. My muscles, my jaw, my tongue is like that. Okay, how to produce that sound. When the sound is used, it's like another thing. Is like general, is like practicing, like practicing.
Exactly. But
And
knowing
yeah, mm,
which sound to produce is the
mm.
key, because
Key. Yes, exactly.
it's
Mhm.
no use having a road if it leads in the wrong direction, right? So
Yeah,
if you want
exactly.
to go to the US, you won't be taking a plane that lets you
Mm-hmm.
to
Correct.
say
I
Pakistan,
understand.
right? So
Yeah,
yeah.
understand. So, like in our native language, in Urdu also, like the no, many people says not exact the sound of zuad. It's like z
Yeah.
and j. Like just Rizwana, not Rizwana. It's like Rijwana. Many times I heard. So, like
Yeah.
they are not able to understand. So, like that, it's a you almost know about what type of sound that later have which sentence, which word, which sound produce is your like practice only.
Yeah, may I share something
Yeah.
very practical, Teacher
Yes, sir.
Ahmed and Dr.
Yes, sir.
Rosie?
Yes.
Yes, yes,
You
please.
know, Teacher Ahmed and Dr. Rosie, and many people who know that I can also sing. Okay, because I'm from Bangladesh. I learned guitar, and when I went to the studio for the first time for singing, the music producer said, "Hey, Rahat, you need to be careful. Though Bengali is your mother tongue, but you are not pronouncing the words correctly. Especially as you have given the examples, Teacher Ahmed. In Bengali, there are three types of S sound. This is one is sha, one is sa, one is sa. Yeah,
Sa,
longer, short, and
yes.
sha. And I had really difficulties. And also, there are two types of R sound. One is ra, and another is ra,
Ra.
stressed. And he said, you have to develop these five sounds. Your homework, then you come for your recording. So I was bit, what should I say? I was in a stake, what I should do. And next day I found there is an advertisement, the sound pronunciation lesson, on conducted by famous, Bengali teachers and this sound practitioners. It's a bit expensive though, but I took the lessons for 3 weeks course. Okay. And honestly, tremendously, my sound improved and I could find the difference. Now I can pronounce like same sounds are in English language. When I was pronouncing, as you said, given the example like the seashells by the seashore, seaside, yeah, sha, sa,
Sure.
sa, you see. So this
Yeah.
similar impact on
Tongue
English,
twister, yes.
yeah, tongue twister. So it is really very important for all of us to know the correct sound, correct stress, and correct pronunciation, which is why the IPA has been established. And as Teacher Ahmed has explained, but now the challenging part is, Teacher Ahmed, for the general speaker, they don't know how to read the IPA, these symbols, these phonemes. If you can give us a little bit insight, please.
On how to read, the simplest insight is join teacher RahatAli's live streams. And yet another way is I am going to open my own classes as well, but mine's are for American English and teacher RahatAli's are for British English. So it's the same IPA but for different languages. So it means we have different sounds. Although it might be written the same way, we pronounce them differently because the phonetics are different, not the phonemes. So how to read them is really easy. Remember, most of them they look like English. That's the best way to remember them. Like an M sounds like an N sounds like an N, a P sounds like a P. There are only a couple of sounds that are not really common. Think of the th sound, that's a theta actually, and the sound, that's actually a theta. Um, those are the sounds that you actually need to remember. There are only a couple of them, so you shouldn't be really worried about that. So I would really encourage that you take teacher RahatAli's classes. He teaches them the IPA. He teaches the IPA, and you can like practice with him. So yeah, that's the simplest way I would tell you. Or if you don't have the money to hop on with him, you can just listen to him in his classes. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, there is one question from Satram. These dental uh, sounds, fricative sound, I can understand. There are only two dental sounds, which are fricative sounds. He said he can't pronounce this, the voiced th and unvoiced th. If you can explain in a easy and better way, please.
So, can I explain the sounds easily? The dental fricatives,
Yeah,
the
because
th and
th,
okay,
yeah, voiced and unvoiced. So these are the
yeah.
two, sound.
Oh, okay. So, this is since a dental fricative, you need to remember that it's a fricative first of all, and this distinguishes it from the Hindi th sound. Most of the people say thing with a t. That's not a fricative sound. A fricative has to have that the vibration in it. For example, all of those are fricatives. Why are they fricative? Because you can feel that friction in them.
Friction of air.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. That friction is important in all the fricatives. And the dental fricatives that we are talking about here, the TH sounds, and they are easy to produce. I wish I could open my camera right now.
Yeah, open it
uh,
if you haven't got any other
no,
problem, Teacher
I
Ahmed.
am not like, see, it's
Hey,
not
we can
working.
see you, Teacher Ahmed.
can see me, but I cannot see myself. That's crazy.
I can see either. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I was
even
joking.
I could not see. I even we are not seeing.
Hello, Ada
I cannot see
Rupu.
myself.
Welcome. There is another Ahmed, my student. Welcome. He's from Iraq. And Jahir, welcome. Teacher Alexander, thank you. And Satram, we're explaining your question. He asked it twice, so that's I've just brought the attention of you.
Hey, Ahmed and Rupa, welcome. So the th sound is the position of a th sound is underneath your teeth. You have to let your tongue come out of your mouth. Don't be afraid. Most of the time, students don't want to do that, right? They feel shy. I wish I could show my face. I cannot see my face. That's why I am not currently sharing my screen. But if I could see myself, it means that I will be able to share my screen. But sorry for that. So be like, so embrace your beauty. Like it's fine. Just make faces. It's totally fine. All of us do, right? So you'll see Teacher Rahat Ali produce the same sound with the same way. He does not feel uncomfortable. You do not have to feel uncomfortable with producing the sounds. And remember, when Teacher Rahat Ali, something's funny when a new student joins me with the IPA and I produce these weird sound ooh, ah. They look funny at me. What are you doing, teacher? Have you gone mad?
Not
No,
yet.
you have to go. Yeah, not yet. Unfortunately not. Or maybe fortunately not. Yeah. So
So
just
teacher
put your tongue.
Ahmed, yeah, sorry. Yes.
Yep. Okay. So put your tongue underneath your teeth and then produce that friction we were talking about. So that's it. That's the unvoiced sound. English has distinction between a lot of sounds, unvoiced and voiced sounds. So we have two th sounds actually,
So,
and
Teacher Ahmed, sorry. Would you please explain to them which sounds
the
are we
distinction.
called voiced and which sounds are not called unvoiced? If you can explain from the root so that they can
So,
understand.
yeah. So I would like you to be my presenter alongside. So when I say throat, you'll have to touch your throat, or yeah, will you do that for me? Yeah. So, thank you,
Like,
teacher
like,
Rahatali.
like I'm
So
touching my throat. Okay, there is a vocal cord. Yeah,
yes, exactly. Thank you. So voicing means you use your vocal cords, like the thing Teacher Rahat Ali
yeah,
is touching.
like
You
this.
have to use that part. Yeah. So we'll start with the V sound. You're
Victor,
using your vocal cords.
Victor. Yeah,
Exactly. Yes, it sounds like a car moving, right? So don't worry, it's a car. And then another voiced sound will be a B. Ba, 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 ba,
Baba,
ba. Yeah. Another voice sound would be a da sound. Da, da, da,
Doctor,
da, da, da. Yes. Another voice sound would be a ga. Ga, 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 ga. He's trying to choke himself. Don't die, Teacher Ahatami.
Google, Gangnam
So
Style.
Gangnam
teacher
style.
Ahmed, Manandeep and Rocky and me, all three are same question. How to overcome from our speaking is like mother tongue influence, MTI.
Yeah, we're coming there in one moment. Let Teacher
Yeah.
Ahmed finish. So, may I add something, Teacher Ahmed and all the people? So, voiced
Please,
means
why not?
when you're using the vocal cord to produce the sound. So, these sounds are called voiced. And other sound that we produce through our mouth, tongue, teeth, or through nose, we call them unvoiced.
Okay.
Oh, Teacher April is here with the American IPA. Yahoo! Teacher April, welcome.
Hello, hello. Is
Hello,
my
teacher
Hello,
camera?
April.
Teacher
Here we
Afro.
go. There's my camera. Okay.
Oh,
My
there
my
you go.
computer shut down completely at the end of my class. I was like, what is going on? So anyway, I'm here. I'm here.
Welcome. Let me take a screenshot. Everyone, please smile. Nobody's smiling except
Oh,
you, Teacher April.
Me, I always
I am
smile.
smiling. You cannot see me. That's
That's a problem I can't see. You're smiling for a special friend, Teacher Ahmed. I know that. Anyway, I'm taking the photos from my mobile. Yeah, that is better.
yeah, screenshot.
Okay. One, two, three, smile. Done. Okay, Teacher April, welcome. And people who have not seen Teacher April is another American teacher, and I have also
Mhm.
invited her to come to be my guest speaker to give some practical demonstration American IPA versus British IPA.
Ah.
Okay, and Teacher April, there is another question for Teacher Ahmed. Let him answer, then you can add your comments, please. Teacher Ahmed.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so let's continue with our voiced and unvoiced sounds. As teacher Rahat has demonstrated using his throat, the voiced sounds use your vocal cords, and the unvoiced sounds that do not. An example of an unvoiced sound will be an F. There is no vibration in my throat. You can feel the sound, but there is no vibration. So let's compare a voiced with an unvoiced sound. Unvoiced, voiced. Another example will be the P is unvoiced, but the B is voiced. B, 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 b. Another example will be the TH unvoiced and the TH, which is voiced.
Voiced.
So those are our voiced and unvoiced sounds. And remember, all the vowels in English are voiced. Remember, some languages can have unvoiced vowels, but English does not have them. So all the vowels in English are voiced. Ah, you can feel a vibration. E, you can feel a vibration. Ooh, you can feel a vibration. Oh, you can feel a vibration. Ah, vibration. Oh, vibration. So all the sounds in English have, sorry, all the vowel sounds in English have vibration with them.
That's great. Thank you very much. Teacher April, would you like to add something how people can distinguish the IPA, American IPA and British IPA? And Teacher Ahmed was explaining overall voiced, unvoiced, and there are many questions. Thanks, Teacher Ahmed, for taking time to answer all of them. And there is still one more question. Teacher Ahmed, you're going to explain after Teacher April.
Well, I was just going to add, I don't know if Teacher Ahmad said this before I came on, but in talking about if something is voiced or unvoiced, and he said you could feel the vibration. If you actually put your hand right here where we call your vocal box, where those vocal cords will vibrate together to make that sound, you can actually feel. So even if you just breathe, there's no vibration. But if you add voice to that breathing, you can actually feel it vibrating. So if you're struggling, you can actually put your hand there in order to see if you're making the correct sound, voiced versus unvoiced. So that's just a little trick that I use with students sometimes.
So do I.
Um,
But Teacher April, sorry to interrupt. The challenging part is that when our learners start learning the sounds, they don't focus on the vocal cord or voiced or unvoiced. Is there any easier or quicker way or any other trick that they can understand apart from touching the throat?
Um, well, when a student struggles with, because most of the students that come to Hallo already have some English knowledge, right? So they've already been taught to say it incorrectly, most likely is what happened. So you've got to back up and teach the foundation. So you always have to, if it's a sound that is not correct consistently, you need to learn to say the sound in isolation, so only by itself. And then the next step would be to add a vowel sound to the sound that you're struggling with. Okay, then you would put it into a word and you would practice that sound when it's at the beginning, the middle, and the end, and perfect that before you try and put it in sentences and conversation. So for example, when I have a student that mispronounces a word in my class, I will take parts of the sound off of the word until we get down to, like, for example, this isn't voiced, unvoiced, but I had a student today who was struggling to say the word world, which is a hard word to say, right? And so we broke it down to a part of the word that she could say correctly. And so she was saying were, and then we added the L, whirl, and then we were able to add the D back on, world. So if you can't say a word correctly, figure out what part of the word you can say correctly, and then slowly add the sounds back on until you have the word. Now, I also have had students that can say the word correctly, and then when I add like a word before or after it, then it's not correct again. So that is part of the scaffolding or the building blocks that go with learning to pronounce sounds correctly, is starting small, making it into a word, phrase, sentence, story, conversation. So as far as if you have students that are struggling with voiced and unvoiced sounds, they're going to have to practice the sound. They've got to get it correct, and then just practice until that feels normal to them. So I had a student that continued to voice the P sound. She would always say pa, pa, pa. So it sounded, all of her words, instead of park, all of her words sounded like bark, because she had never learned to make pa, pa, right? So for one whole week, I said, your homework is to walk around the house saying pa, 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 pa. But she said, that feels so weird to just say pa. And I said, I know, but if you say it enough times, it will not feel weird anymore. It will feel normal. And so when you can make the sound in isolation completely by itself, then you can grow it into words and conversation. So that's what I would say. If the pronunciation isn't correct, figure out what sound you are not making correctly in that word, correct that sound, and then build the word back out.
Thank you very much. There is one question, both of you as a teacher, please answer it. You know that in many languages, mother tongues, they have always an impact on the English sound. And Dr. Rosie has the similar question, and another two of our other commentators made the similar question. How they can overcome this impact of mother tongue sound that really makes sometimes read incorrect or inaccurate sounds. Is there any way they can prevent it or they can control it?
So a lot of it has to do with, who did you learn English from? Who taught you English, right? Did you learn from someone that also speaks your mother tongue? Did you learn from, did you learn from an American teacher? Did you learn from a British teacher? That is what influences most of your pronunciation. So after you have already learned so many words, so many pronunciations with that, I guess, accent, if you will, it's going to be difficult to remove that. It's going to take a lot of work. And I find that the vowels tend to be where most of the accents are visible or audible. So if you want to try and take some of that mother tongue accent out of your English, I would recommend focusing on the vowel sounds. That and like the R and L tend to be sounds that sound very different depending on the type of English that you learned. Because R and L is not a common sound in all of our languages. so they're difficult to pronounce in English. And R in some other languages like French or Spanish, they'll roll their R's or they'll trill their R's. And so, we don't do that in English. And so learning to make what I call a hard R sound, it's strange because it uses a part of your tongue that doesn't feel natural. And so you really have to you have to work on that. You have to say those words a lot. It's just like exercising. If you decide that you want to become a runner and you just give it all you've got and you run, it's your legs are gonna really hurt. You're gonna say, oh, that was so hard, I do not want to do that again. When you try and make the R sound correctly, you may think, that is so hard, I don't want to do that again, right? But if you work on it every day, eventually you can run easily, right? If you work on it every day, eventually R will not be difficult. But if you're not practicing it every day, multiple times a day, it's going to be difficult. So I would say, like, even if you can't practice with someone every day, if you choose, a word or a phrase that you want to perfect, and you work on saying that phrase or saying that word just in your day, every time you go to the restroom, you look in the mirror and you say that word 5 times, right? Or maybe you have to walk to work, you're saying that word or that phrase so that you can practice it. You have to practice speaking in order to become better at it. You can't just listen and assume that you're going to become better at speaking.
Thank you
So
very
that's
much, Teacher April. That's really pretty cool insight. Teacher Ahmed, would you like to add something, please?
Yeah, I would just I agree with teacher April. She has given us every single dirty tip in the book. So I would just like to add that as an English learner myself, I will often walk around saying wah 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 wah, and people will look like me crazy. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's my W. That's what I'm practicing. Because I cannot produce the difference between a V and a W, so it takes me a lot of time, and I keep doing that. So for me, vowels are not the hard part. It's the consonants that are. So for most people, that is the case because uh, most languages have the consonants, but their consonants differ from English. Think of the T in Spanish. That's ta, not ch, but ta. So for a Spanish speaker, it's tomaro, to. So it'll take a lot of time to get rid of that that habit. So it's hard to first forget the 16, 15, or like for some people, 30 years of experience with that sound and tell them, hey, that's not the sound we need you to produce in English. It's a different sound. Although it looks the same, sounds the same, it's not the same sound. So for most people, like for especially from my fellows from India and Pakistan, we have a habit of saying pen instead of pen. We have a habit of saying pen. And why do we do that? Because p in the beginning for us should sound like a p. Remember, in Urdu and Hindi, we have 4 versions of the same sound, so it's not easy for us to choose which one of those sound is the right one. So we go with our gut. So that usually is wrong because our gut is in Urdu or Hindi, not in English, right? So wrong gut. Use a different gut. Yeah. So experience. Yeah.
use a different gut. I like that one.
Yeah. Yeah, you just need to develop that English gut to realize that's not the sound I should be using. So, pen. And remember, this is something funny that happens when I say Ben in front of my Urdu speaking people, friends or students. Ben, Ben, Ben. They keep saying me, are you saying PEN? If I say Ben, they hear PEN pen. It's crazy. Like the other day, I was playing this audio to a student of mine. It simply said Ben. It kept saying Ben, 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 Ben. And asked them to write the word down, and they wrote PEN. And I asked them, what's the word? They said is pen. They say pen, right? For them, pen and ben, they sound the same. But for me, pen, ben, and ben, all three of them have different sounds. So the consonants can be really tricky because the way different languages produce them. Some are really easy. Think of the M and N. They're almost universal. So there is no way you can go wrong with those two. But some Chinese people do. Okay, so for them, M and N, they can mixed up. They can be mixed up. So L and R, they are easy to mix up because you can see they're approximants. Both of them are approximant and alveolar approximant. So it's really easy to mix them up. La, ra, they're really close. So I do not want to say that if you cannot know the difference, you don't know the difference. It's just that it's English is crazy. And then we have so many sounds that are really close that it's almost impossible to tell the difference between them. So an example of that will be just the sound sh and those are crazy sounds. Like what language wants you
You're
to say
scaring
that's
me.
a crazy
You're
sound.
scaring me, teacher
Yes.
Ahmed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So for most people, remember most languages have fewer vowels than English. 5, 6, that's the golden number. Or in my case, my language has around 12 and nasal on top of that, and it increases the number to 24. But the thing is, there are languages that have fewer sounds. Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, all of those sounds languages have fewer vowels than English. And remember, it's not that if you speak another language and you move to English, it's hard then. It's not that. If an English speaker were to speak your language, they will still be butchering your language. Don't worry. If you think that you're butchering English, an English speaker will be butchering your language too. So think of any other, think of a word like my own name. It's really hard for some people to say that, right? So it's not that it's a hard sound, it's just that they don't have the sound, so they struggle with it. So embrace the struggle, go with the struggle, and no, you're not the only one struggling. I'm a teacher and I struggle with it all the time. So when I say a word wrong, I have to pay attention to like the next time I say it. So yeah, so you're not the only one. I believe in you and you can do.
Thank you very much, teacher Ahmed, teacher April.
yes.
So I'm going to now ask you some specific sounds which I have noticed very common. Many of my learners can't differentiate. You have already explained V and W, then S, sha, and sa sound. Some of the learners can't differentiate at all. Okay, and if I say second hand, they say second hand. Okay, if I say finish, there's a finish. So is there any way they can distinguish? And also, teacher April, for your information, these sounds have, you know, they have been taught by their own, mother tongue teacher, so which is very much likely have a longer impact on their learning. So if you can just give us a little bit more insight, it'd be great, please.
So
Mm.
for S versus the
Yes,
SH
that's right.
sound, yeah. So when I teach, because I have students at my school, where I'm a therapist that struggle to make a clear S sound, and a lot of times for them, it's because they don't realize that when you make s, the air comes out the front. Sometimes for them it'll come out the side. So I say, oh, it sounds slushy, because they'll say, right? So I kind of use the same tricks when I'm talking to adults. So an S is only going to come out the front. But here is the cool part. This is how you teach S. You ask them to make the T sound. T, t, t. Okay? Then you're going to stretch your T sound. So we're going to make 3 short T's, and then we're going to make a long T. And watch what happens. T, 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 t. It turns into an S. Okay, so that's a real easy way to, and that's assuming that they can make a T sound. If they can't make t, then start there, right? So that's how I call it my stretchy T sound to my children. That's how you can make an S. The sh sound is, a lot of people, if you're telling someone to be quiet, and I don't know if this is this way in other languages too, but in English we say shh when we're trying to tell them to be quiet. So I can easily say that to one of my, English speaking children at school, and they immediately know what I'm talking about. So do students struggle to say sh, or is it the sh sound is easy? It's the s that they struggle to make.
I believe that both of them are, quite perceivable. What I have noticed in the first, few months, they come to learn sound, and even what happens, sometimes they could produce the sounds, but in the
Hmm.
next word, when they're producing, they can't, retain the sound. The sound is gone. You know.
Yeah. And that's where, you know, I'll just be honest, like that's how I would like to use my one-on-one classes with students, is come to me, tell me what sound you're struggling with. I will pull a whole bunch of words that have that sound in different positions, and we will just say words. I call it drill and practice. We're just going to drill those words, and practice, practice, practice. And so if a student is not retaining it, it's possible that it's because it's connected to a different vowel. So when I'm, working on a sound, I want it in isolation. Then I want them to be able to produce it with other sounds, which typically starts with a vowel, either before or after. But you're going to go through all the different vowel sounds, to make sure that you can, because your mouth changes, right, based on the vowel that is before or after, especially with R, but we're talking about S. So, if I have a student that is not carrying that over, sometimes it's because they only learned it, like when you corrected it for them, they only learned it with that certain vowel. So that's just going to be, that's going to be a practice thing. They're going to have to practice that. I have some students, that consistently, it's an error. This student I'm thinking of, it's a specific vowel sound. She struggles with A. She doesn't want to make that long A sound. And I'll say, oh, there's your long A. And as soon as I give her that cue, she can fix it. But it's like she wasn't even aware that she wasn't saying it correctly until I kind of give her that cue. So if you have regular students that are struggling with an S, as a teacher, I would recommend coming up with some kind of cue, whether it's visual, where you, point and make the T sound like that, and they know, oh, wait, I need to go back and fix that word. Or you say, oh, there's your S again, and then they can go back and say the word again. So you want to, the goal is to fade the cues out, or fade the prompts out. So when they can do it, then try less and less, to give them those prompts and cues. And the idea is eventually you work yourself out of a job, right? That's what I tell my students at school. Like, when you graduate from speech therapy, that's a good thing, because it means that you can say all of your sounds correctly, and I will no longer have a job if everyone can say their sounds correctly.
Thank you very much, Teacher April and Teacher Ahmed. We have got Haji and Rosie. They have got questions for both of you. So I'll ask Dr. Rosie first. Dr. Rosie,
Yes, sir.
your question to
Yes, sir.
Teacher April and Teacher Ahmed, then Haji as well.
Okay. So, yeah, of course, I listen all point with the difference between then sound like S and SH. Sometimes I feel also like Z and J. Many people confuse J and Z, and I also notice for our native speaker, either Hindi and Urdu. So I feel it's because of not familiar about the both sound. Even in Urdu, the Z means vision. If we write in Urdu, as a vision is like z is also a sound, even also a letter in Urdu. So I think if you have a good amount of knowledge in your own native language, it's easy to learn other language also, as a like a correct pronunciation or correct like sound. So sometimes people told I learn English. So I feel, oh my God, it's like it's not about the English language. It's about the even you not know about the s and sh sound in your native language. So sometimes some people ask me, Roji. So I feel, oh, it's like that. So I only say कि I focus my own first my own native language sound. So it's a more easier for then we go to some new language with and familiar with sound.
Okay, thank you. Teacher April.
Yeah, I like what she's saying. I wish that I knew more languages so that I could tell my students, oh, the sound you are trying to make is like the sound in this word, and then say their native language word. Because if I could do almost a compare and contrast with the different sounds, it's the same with British English versus American English. If I can show students, hey, look, here's where the sounds are the same, here's where the sounds are different, then it gives you a visual and also just a personal connection of, oh, okay, I see it now. So I think that is what is the word I want to use? A weakness of teachers, right? Is that we don't know your native language. And so we don't always know what sound you're going to struggle with. I'm quite impressed with teacher Ahmad's English, because I hear him say, where he is from, and that in his language we da 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 da, but his English is beautiful. We can all understand what he is saying. So I don't know how he learned English, but so it can be done, right? But as far as helping, I guess kind of what your question is talking about in your language that you produce that sound differently than you hear, an American or a British person speaking those sounds. And in general, I think people will understand what it is you're trying to say. So a lot of times I will ask my students, why are you learning English? If it's because you just want to be able to speak English with anyone when you travel, well, that is one thing. But if you want to learn English because you plan to get a job in London or in Chicago, and it's a job that is in a business or a corporation, well, your pronunciation needs to be very clear. And so it would be important to learn to say each of those sounds, the S, the SH, the S, the Z, the J, to say those sounds clearly. But in just normal conversation, my personal opinion is that it may not be as necessary. I always tell people, slow your speech down and people will understand you. So I do notice with like the Indian culture, when they're speaking, they tend to add at the end of a lot of their words. And so for a native English speaker, that can be confusing to our ear, because adding at the end of a word makes us think there's more coming. And so our brain doesn't think to stop that word, that this is now a new one, because the is there. So that actually would be what I would focus on, as far as those that are dealing with an Indian dialect. Did I answer the question at all? I'm not even sure anymore.
You did. That's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, you did. Don't worry.
Okay.
Okay. We have
That's
got
great.
another speaker, specifier from Bangladesh. Welcome, and Aji.
Thank you,
So
sir. Thank you
we'll
for
continue
having me.
15 minutes more, though it is supposed to be an hour, but we're extending 15 minutes more because we have got two more guest speakers. So you have got the opportunity to ask these two amazing teachers about any sound, because today's theme live stream about the IPA. It could be British IPA or American IPA. It doesn't matter as long as you can ask the right question to them. So Aji, you should go first, and after that, Pacifier.
Okay, thank you, teacher. I just want to ask the one thing that make me confuse me. Should I uh, clear my word and the English word, or should I to learn how to connect the one word to another word to the next word, so it more naturally.
So
So, teacher, can you?
yeah, his question is how he can connect one word to another when they've got impact of the words. Teacher April and Teacher Ahmed, did you get his question?
Yeah,
Impact.
connected speech, I think. Connected speech, like did and you, they become did you. Like for example, did you eat? Sometimes people say did you chat, did you chat. So that's English crazy. Before I get to your question, sorry, like I have to add to Teacher Apple's answer. She articulated herself really well because we are human. It's impossible for us to know the languages of our students, right? We teach so many students from so many backgrounds, so many different backgrounds, that it becomes impossible for the teachers to know the language of their students. However, this is where the IPA comes in. So what you and your teachers can do together is you can tell your teacher, hey, these are the sounds in my language, and do you hear those sounds in English as well? Tell me if that's the sound that exists in English or not. Or maybe you can do it yourself. You can go and look it up. Yeah, IPA, I do this all the time. If there's a Thai student of mine, I will go Thai phonology. I Google it, Thai phonology, and it shows me a chart of all the sounds that exist in Thai. And then I can teach them, hey, this is the sound. Like Candy is a friend of mine and a student of mine. Like they have vowels, short vowels and long vowels, sera u and sera u. I'll tell Candy this is the vowel that goes there, not the other one. And so she'd say, oh, okay, that's the sound I'll use. So do this exercise together with your teacher and tell them, like Rosie gave us an example of z, j, and j, three different sounds in Urdu, but they also exist in English, but it's not that we use those sounds properly. That's why there's a confusion. There's a disconnect between the teacher and the student because of no commonality, and that's why we have the IPA. It shows us the commonality between languages. So use the IPA to the fullest with your teacher or by yourself so that you can help your learning English. So you help yourself. Okay. Yeah. And then connected speech, that's a tricky one. Because connected speech is one of the hardest parts of English, you know? Even if you learn individual sounds, then you learn entire word. And then when this word is right next to another word, this word changes. How does this happen, right? So that's actually
Yeah,
true for all the languages in the world. All the languages do that. So think of your own
yeah,
language. You
yeah,
don't want to say individual words. If you talked like this, you will sound like a robot, and sometimes even worse than
yeah,
that. So, yeah.
yeah. So that's what I'm talking. Yeah,
Yeah, so I will suggest doing it one word at a time or one rule at a time. Remember, when a T connects with a vowel, how it goes, right? When a D connects with a vowel, how it goes. On only one rule at a time, and then we'll focus on only on that. And remember, for connected speech, reading really helps. I know this might be counterintuitive because you want to speak, but read out loud, read from a passage, learn one of the rules that you want to apply, and read the entire passage out loud, and then see whether you applied those or not. So those rules or not. Reading out loud really helps. And
thank
also
you.
analyzing text from other people. Like you watched a movie clip, a 5 minute long movie clip, and you're looking for the rule to be applied. You learn that the T right next to a y becomes a ch. Then listen to it every single time someone says what. Oh, like get me think. I am thinking of a thing that you said, right? That you, it becomes a that. You becomes that you. So listen to every time the T and a y go together, and whether the person is trying to say that you or that you. All right. So Yeah, so reading out loud and listening to people actually use the language. It can be a native speaker talking, it can be a movie clip, it can be a song, any clip that actually has that thing. I would suggest that you go to Youglish, and search the term that and you. Search the term in the accent, U.S. accent. It will show you the options. Okay, that and you. Put those words in the search box, and it'll show you all the people saying that word. Okay, so it takes videos from YouTube in English. That's why it's called Youglish. YouTube plus English, right? So Youglish. So search the term that you want to learn the pronunciation for, that you, and then search. It will give you all the native speakers saying that exact term, that you, that you. Listen to different people at different speeds. You can slow it down, you can speed it up. Yeah, so I would recommend slowing it down to 0.75 or zero point 0.5 so that it's easy for you to understand that things. Yes, that's really what's happening. Sometimes we drop the T, internet, we say internet, not internet. So we say winter, not winter. So pay attention to those little details. Over time, you'll get the hang of it, and it'll become natural even. And then becoming natural is part of your reading part. When you're actually doing the practice in reading, it'll help you. And I'll mention this quickly here as a side note. Remember, when you're talking to people, do not treat talking as practice. Practice is different from talking. When I'm talking, I need to be focusing on what I'm trying to say, not on my language. When you're practicing, give it a different time, because when you do that, when you mix them, you're always worried about what you're going to say next. You're always conscious, self-conscious, so it holds you back from saying what you actually want to say. Just because you know that there's a sound you cannot say it correctly, so you don't even use the word, because you know, okay, I'm going to make the mistake, so I'm not going to use the word. So you're constantly looking for another word to say instead of that, right? So keep them separate. Practice is practice, and talking is talking. Language should function as a communication tool, not as a practicing tool. When you're talking to someone like a friend of yours, treat that as talking, just not practice. Practice with your teachers, practice on your own, practice with reading, practice listening. All of those are parts of practice, but your talking should be your talking. That's it. No, you don't need to strain your mind. First of all, you're looking for the right words, you're looking for the right message, you're talking to trying to understand what the person is trying to say, and on top of that, you're also worrying about how to produce those sounds. Is confusing. Don't worry about that, right? So one thing at a time. Don't worry too much about it. When you're talking, just keep talking. When you're practicing, then you don't have to worry about the meaning, right? You don't have to worry about the word, the thought process, just your tongue, your muscles. You don't go to gym and also study philosophy at the same time. You're right. You're just doing the push-ups or whatever it is, or bench press. Yeah, so separate them. Yeah, I hope that helps.
Okay, I'll be
Thank
back
you.
in 1 minute. Carry on talking. Pacify your question to these teachers. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So my question is to both. Before I make my question, I want to say hello to teacher April and teacher Jamal. I'm Sohel Shahriar from Bangladesh, and I'm a student of teacher RahatAli. I'm practicing speaking and writing with him for IELTS test. Okay, now my question is, whenever I'm talking, I can find out that most of the words I speak, I do the pronunciation wrong. So maybe I learned it that way from the beginning, and now it's very difficult for me to change all those words. Like I don't know how many words I learned in the wrong way. So what will be your suggestion?
I think I would make a list of all of the words that you think that you say incorrectly. Okay.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
start with the first one and work on it until you can say it correctly. And then add the next one. Because if you can't, when you It's like when you say a new word and it feels weird or it's a sound you're not used to saying. You have to train your mouth and train your brain, right? So you're thinking how I make this sound, and then that has to travel to your mouth to make sure that your tongue and your teeth and your lips are all in the correct position. If you can do that enough times, you won't have to think about it first. It will just happen.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So either practice just the sound, with vowels over and over and over and over and over, or practice the word. So if you have maybe once you get your first word, maybe, a couple weeks later, now you have 3 words. And so you practice saying each of those words. It's kind of like a tongue twister, right? If I try and say, she sells by the she. Yeah, I can't even say it, right?
By
Like
the
my tongue
seashore.
Yeah. But if
Even the
I
native speaker.
practice that walking around, she sells seashell
Seashells
by the
by
seashore,
the
right? I can say
seashore.
it slowly. And so then I say it really slowly for maybe a whole week. And then the next week, I'm going to try and say it a little bit faster, and then a little bit faster until I can say, she sells seashells by the seashore, right? It's the same thing with pronunciation. Figure it out very slowly in small, the sound individually, turn it into a word, say it over and over and slowly, very slowly, so that your mouth has time to move into the correct position. And then eventually you'll be able to say it a little faster, and then it will feel normal. And next thing you know, that's just how you say the word. I can't even remember when I said it the wrong way.
Thank you, Teacher April. Thank you very much for the
Thank you
easy
so much.
clarification. Any other question? I have to continue 10 more minutes because I have to go to shopping. The supermarkets will be closed in an hour time. So 15 minutes is fine. Yeah, more 15 minutes. We have extended. Okay. Any other question from anyone? Dr. Rosie, lecturer AG, or by the way, Pasifari also is a teacher from Bangladesh, Teacher April and Teacher Jamal. He teaches GRE for the graduate students who are going to the US and many other countries.
Oh, wait, who teaches GRE?
Pacifier, the person who asked you just now.
Oh, because I considered going back to school, to grad school, and I would have had to take the GRE. Yes, you can do that.
I have a question with Teacher April and Ahmed. If I go to IPA, so can our intuition or articulation is also correct, or it's more effort for doing correction of that manner?
I am afraid I did not understand your question, Rosie. Could you try that again?
So after IPA, if I go to IPA and I will able to correct sound identification or sound creation. So after that, for word or for sentences, the intuition or articulation is like rhythm is it's also cover on that IPA, or it's more effort for that thing.
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. I would like to add it depends on how deep you want to go into the IPA. IPA does not just cover the sounds, it covers words, it covers word boundaries, it covers phrases, it covers entire sentences. Even if you breathe for a second, IPA has a symbol for that, how to represent a breath. If you're huffy or if you're tired, IPA has symbols for ways to present all of those. So if you really go into the actual depth of the IPA, you can use it for almost anything that's human related, okay? Human related, not alien languages. We don't have that.
And second question, you just mention or give suggestion for reading for the connecting words, connecting speech. So sometime if I read, I am habitual to reading. So I feel I just pronounce some word wrong in like own manner, own understanding, and after that it's like my default habit for pronounce that word in wrong way. Even I know what is the wrong, but because of habit, I am not able to correct easily. So it's a good for I go to some reading with like audiobook or some some um, movies like subtitle, and first I
Yeah.
listen and then I
Um,
read.
yeah. No, Rose, I would like to answer your question by answering Pacifier's question at the same time. So both of your questions are very related to each other. So Pacifier said, I have learned some words but with the wrong pronunciation, and you're repeating almost the same question. Now, the answer to that is first of all, go to a teacher who can tell you your systematic mistakes. Systematic,
Okay.
remember. Because for me, I'll be honest, I did not know the difference between mad and made until I was made to know that. I was teaching phonetics, then I realized, okay, make that mistake all the time. When I started learning the IPA, I realized those are different sounds. But that would have been impossible for me if I did not learn the IPA. But that would have been possible, however, if I went to a teacher and they told me, see, I just said vent. If I went to a teacher and they told me, hey Jamal, that's not the sound. It's mad, not made, right? So they would tell me that that's a systematic mistake. Systematic. So I still make that mistake, but the problem is now I know when to correct myself because my teacher or IPA, they have told me this is a systematic mistake. It's
Systematic
not that
mistake.
I make it once or twice. It happens with all the words, right? So that's why
Mm-hmm.
when you know that you are mispronouncing a word,
Mm-hmm.
to go to a teacher, ask them, okay, I'll just read a passage in front of you and tell me what are my major issues. What are the sounds that I struggle with? Not the words that I struggle with, but the sounds I struggle with, right? If someone keeps saying
Yeah, right.
Pete instead of pit, if someone keeps saying Pete instead of pit, the teacher
Yes.
knows
Mhm.
this, the fault is between I and E, not knowing the difference between the
Yeah.
vowels. So that's a
Yeah.
systematic mistake. So knowing the systematic
Okay.
mistakes is really important because it narrows, like it cuts the process in half, not even in half, like in one third, one tenth, right? So you don't have to worry about everything at the same time. So one
Okay.
thing at a time, as I said earlier. So for me, there are lots of sounds. Like I used to say like like my th would be th and the, my p's would be buzz and buzz, and my t would be the and t. So and my for example my v's, as I said earlier, so that was the first point I made here. My v's, they sound sometimes like a w. Why?
Yeah.
Because my mother tongue does not have those sounds. And my r, that's the hardest sound in English, r, and
Yeah.
I still struggle with it sometimes, but
Mm-hmm.
I work on it as much as I can. But I know which of the sounds I need to work on. You need to know what is the problem with your pronunciation, or um, yeah. So that's the first thing. Know the problem, and how do you know the problem? Go talk to a teacher, a professional teacher. Okay, a teacher. I don't mean just any random person, but yeah, an actual teacher. You know that they're capable of doing that. They can tell you exactly what you need. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Teacher
Thank you,
Ahmed
Teacher
and Teacher
Rahman.
April.
Thank you, Teacher Rahman.
Okay,
Well, I just want to comment real quick. There's a
please.
reason why R is so difficult is because, and I put this in the chat, there are
What
actually
sounds?
32 different R sounds and 21 different R phonemes. So phonemes being like, if you say ER, at the end of the word, it's versus if you say RE, it's re. It's different.
Um,
R is one of those sounds that the position of your mouth changes based on the vowel sound that is before or after it. So that is why it's one of the hardest sounds
Uh,
to perfect.
May
Yeah,
I
I would just quickly add one more thing to it. Is that the R is even harder because the R in American English is particularly different from the rest of the languages. Like we have Ra in
rug?
Urdu, but in American English is inherently different from all the languages of the world. Er. Ra. Ra. Can you feel the different, like totally different sounds? So yeah, in British English, car, they drop the R because it's much easier.
Yeah.
And may I share something practically? That's why American English is called rhotic English and British English is called non-rhotic. And also, Teacher April, I'm sure Teacher Ahmed might know it. In some parts of the United Kingdom, people replace the T sound by R. So instead of saying I've got lot of friends, they say I've got a lot of friends, and they pronounce quickly. You see, so that is one impact which I just came to know after coming to this country. I didn't know that. So T can be replaced by R sound. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
very interesting.
Really, it's a great live stream. Lots of things I
Yeah,
learned
I
today.
wish I could continue more, but I have to go for
No, no.
weekly shopping. Few more minutes, 7, 8 minutes more. Is it okay? And if you've got any question from the viewers, please write in the comment section, and our teachers are going to answer you. And welcome, Oscar, psychologist teacher Alexandra, Pradeep, and other people who are watching silently. Thank you very much for coming here. And if you want to develop your American accent, teacher April would be the right person. I always recommend her because she is a uh, voice coach, right, teacher April? Voice therapist. Is it like this
Uh,
or?
so speech and language
Uh,
therapist
I'm
is
sorry,
is my
speech and
title.
language therapist. So if you haven't followed these two teachers, Teacher Ahmed and Teacher April, please do follow her, support her, and join the lessons. I'm sure you can learn a lot of things.
So this is just here. This is why I agree with what Teacher Ahmed was saying a minute ago about it's not necessarily the vowels that influence or that stand out with the different dialects or the different accents. But this is why I say it. So here's an example. Most of you today have been saying my name, April, right? When I say my name, it's April,
April.
Same as the month.
Yeah.
April.
April. Yeah. So, but do I
Teacher
know you're
April.
saying my name? Of course I do. Do I care that you're saying it slightly different? Not at all. But that is an example of everything that we're saying today. That
Mhm.
even if your dialect or your accent is slightly different, as long as you're speaking clearly in conversation, it's fine. But if it's not clear, it's not fine because then I can't understand you. Like if you were to say my name, Abril instead of April, right? Abril. Well, it's a P, it's not a B. But like in French, it'd be Avril, right? It's a V.
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I love that in my degree that I received, from going to college, from going to a university, I was able to learn IPA, International Phonetic. What does A stand for?
Alphabets.
Is it? I don't even know.
Alphabets.
Yeah,
Alphabet?
it's both an
Alphabet.
alphabet and association. Yeah.
Okay, so International Phonetic Alphabet, right? Um, because when my husband and I lived in a free French speaking country for a little while. So we went to France first to learn French. And it dawned on me that because I can read IPA, that I could literally say any word in any language if it's written phonetically or with the IPA alphabet, right? So knowing what the symbols, the IPA symbols represent can be very helpful, can be very beneficial in learning a new language. Is it required? Not at all, but it is helpful. So I love that what teacher Ahmad shared about being able to just Google like a different language, what are their IPA symbols, that are most common. because it will help me understand, oh, this doesn't even exist in their language. I never even thought about that. So I think as teachers too, we can make that connection, help them make that connection, because several of our teachers do know IPA, and we can help them make those connections. And if our students want to expand their knowledge on other languages, I think learning IPA, for their own language first, their native mother tongue language, can then help them learning English or any other languages, moving forward. So I love that you're sharing this today, Teacher Rahat and Teacher Ahmad, that you mentioned looking at it in other languages as well. I think that's some really good information.
I think Pacifier has a question here. You see, the word dawn and Don, D-O-N, Don, they have two pronunciations depending on where you are in the world. Like, I say Don and Don the same way, I cannot produce a difference. Like, my ah and ah, they sound the same. But for some people, it might be Dawn and Don. And for some people, it might be Dawn and Don. But for me, they're Don and Don. So, Don at me and Don at me.
Yeah, that's why I was saying don't.
Yeah, Don. I say Don.
And we said dawn,
Okay.
dawn and dusted.
Dawn. Okay. Okay.
It dawned. Yeah, I said it dawned on me. Dawned.
Okay, that's really very amazing way you have both, explained and clarified many, issues. And I think that maybe, in the future, though it's only anniversary, we can, combinedly bring this type of, lessons, and teacher April, teacher Jamal, and they can come and, interact with us. It will be helpful for all the people. And once again, dear viewers, if you haven't followed teacher April and teacher Jamal, please follow them, support them, and subscribe to them. Okay. And any other last question, because we are going to finish our lesson soon.
Yes, I have to get going as well, but I'm so glad that I was able to come and join. And I agree, like this has been so informative. I think not only for the students that are listening, but even as a teacher, like hearing other teachers explain things gives me ideas, on either future classes or how to explain something to a student of mine. So it's a great opportunity for collaboration. I love it.
Thank you very much, teacher April, and I appreciate your time, your efforts, your hard work, dedication, motivation for our students. And obviously, with this kind of open public live stream, many students come to us and get to know about our teachers, their quality, their capabilities, their lessons. By the way, before you go, everyone, there is an offer from Hallo, 30% discount if you add any of these discount code Hallo app, Hallo Kids, and Instaclass. Try it now, because we have got still a few more days, and after that this offer would be finished.
It will.
Okay. Okay.
All right, thank you very much, teacher Jamal, Dr. Rosie, teacher April, once again lecturer AG, and our GRE teacher Pacifier, and everyone who are supporting, commenting, tremendously, interacting with us. That really makes me that we are in a very comfortable zone.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you. It's a great pleasure to me.
No problem. So I'd like to end this now. Thank you very much. This has been also Teacher April shared to our Facebook Hello group and
Awesome.
YouTube channel. If anyone wants to listen to it later, please do so. Okay. I'll see you later. Thank you very much and bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Take
Bye bye,
care,
teacher
Sarah.
Ahmad.
Bye.
April.